The battle begins. The gods looked out over the armies gathered in front of Troy. Zeus wondered aloud, do we let the Trojans hand Helen back and be done with the battle, or do we stir it up again? Hera was furious. I won't agree to let them hand Helen over. I won't let it be settled so feebly. Paris and the Trojans would get off too lightly. I want war. Her demand angered Zeus. How dare you, Hera? To hate these mortals so much you'd condemn them to suffer more. Is 10 years not enough? Friends of yours will die if the war goes on. I shall see to it. Thunder roared around Mount Olympus, and lightning slashed the evening sky as Athena sent word to Pandarus, the Trojan archer, that mighty Menelaus must die by his hand. Paris and all of Troy would favor him if he broke the truce and killed the Greek hero. Pandarus bent his bow of curling ibex horn to string it. Then, hidden behind the shields of his friends, he watched Menelaus scanning the Trojan ranks for Paris. Despite the truce agreed between the leaders of the armies, he knocked his arrow, prayed that the archer god, Apollo, bent the bow of a stiff arc, and fired the humming arrow. It flew straight to Menelaus, and if not for a deflection by Athena, would have killed the hero. She guided the arrow to the gold buckles of his belt. It pierced his decorated cuirass and the leather shirt, and then the flesh of his arm. He fell to his knees from the pain, but he did not die. Agamemnon, seeing his brother wounded, called off the truce. He ordered the Greeks to find the truce breaker and kill him, and the Trojans, realizing the angry Greeks would strike hard and fast, came on. Again, bloody war would rage. Agamemnon spurred on his commanders. Liars and truce beggars will be left for carrion dogs and vultures to tear at. We'll take their wives and children as house slaves when Troy is burning. The Greeks cheered, and Idomeneus, the Cretan leader, spoke. They'll drink death and dishonor, we Cretans swear it. He saluted the high king. His men unsheathed their swords, checked the arrows in their quivers, and stood ready for the coming battle. Nestor told his men he regretted he was not young, but promised not to abandon them and to command from his squadron of chariots. Agamemnon rode on. He found Odysseus and his men waiting behind the front ranks. Are you afraid of what's coming? Agamemnon mocked. Odysseus brusquely told his chief, You will see our courage when we engage with the Trojans. Steadily the Trojan army advanced, chariot wheels rumbling, horse harnesses clattering, drums thundering, and all over a cloud of dust. Beyond the battlefield, flocks of long-necked vultures and packs of pariah dogs waited for their feast. Men were going to die. Helen watched anxiously from the city walls as the warriors surged forward like twin tides about to swallow each other up. The Greek armies faced the Trojans, their horsehair plumes proudly upright, the relentless sun glinting on metal spears, embossing in blades. The shower of death-dealing spears glittered and hissed across the narrowing space. Men cried out in pain to their gods, their wives and their sons and daughters, as they closed their eyes on the world. The Trojans advanced. Stabbing spearheads crushed skulls and emerged through breastbones, throats, and backs. Eyes were sliced by backhand blows of bronze blades. Hurled stones broke noses, shoulders, and hip bones. And so it continued in ever-mounting chaos. Ecopolus, a Trojan, was the first to die, killed despite his full armor. Darkness came down on his eyes as he fell into the general melee. A friend tried to drag his body away so that it could be taken behind the lines for a decent burial. A killer wanted to strip the body of its armor. All around them swords, stabbing spears, and shield edges crushed and cut and killed. Ajax struck Anthemenian's son, who ended his brief life speared by a pig through a breast and shoulder. Like a pig speared. Ajax struck Agamemnon's son, who ended his brief life speared like a pig through breast and shoulder. A friend attempted to avenge the boy, but missed Ajax and speared a friend of Odysseus through the groin. Odysseus, roaring with a battle rage, struck and struck again. With the same fury, Diomedes was relentlessly killing somewhere else in the battle. Apollo tried to rally the Trojans. These Greeks are only flesh and blood. They don't even have a hero, Achilles, with them. He's sulking like a woman by the ships. He'll be combing his golden hair. The Trojans laughed and rallied, but the young Greek Diomedes was determined to win glory. Athena came to give a hand and to help balance Apollo's anger. Diomedes used both spear and sword to deadly effect. Phegeus, the Trojan, tried to kill him with a spear but missed. Diomedes fired and hit his targets, tumbling Phegeus from his chariot. Diomedes captured the horses and told his men to take them away from the roaring battlefield. Agamemnon hurled his spear after the Trojan Odius. It hit him in the back, and he fell with a thud under the wheels of his own chariot. At the same moment, Idomeneus saw Phaseus and his chariot. With a mighty arm, the Cretan flung his death-dealing spear and struck Phaseus under the right shoulder. He crashed the Trojan to the ground. The Cretan's servants stripped the corpse and left it for dogs. A mighty chariot raced out of control around the battlefield, its horses driven mad by the smell of blood and the ceaseless roar of battle. The driver lay across the chariot, his bleeding body pinned to the wood by a spear. The leading horse screamed. An arrow fired by Paris had pierced its skull right above the eye. In the thick of the fight of the blood-crazed, battle-crazed, unsatiated men fought on, killing like machines, unable to stop.